Hello, my name is Willie Hampton. Today I will be informing you guys on the life of Jimi Hendrix, and this is my audience. Ever see someone play the guitar with their teeth? Or how about this? Ever see someone flip the strings on a guitar and still make beautiful music with ease? I've been a fan of Jimi Hendrix for years, and I have listened to every single one of his albums easily more than 20 times. I have watched countless documentaries on his life, and I have spent hours gathering knowledge on him. In this speech, I will break it down into three phases because his life was very short. I will cover his childhood, his road to fame, and all he did while he was famous, and then there will be a fourth informal phase that will cover how he died and my conclusion. Phase 1, early life. According to RollingStone.com, Jimi Hendrix was born in Seattle, Washington at 10:15 a.m. on November 27, 1942, at Seattle Kings County Hospital. His father, James, who Jimi hated, renamed him James Marshall and nicknamed him Young Jimmy. After Jimmy's mother died, his father started drinking a lot and became a very mean guy, hence the reason Jimi Hendrix hated him. At a very young age, Jimi Hendrix took an interest in music and drew influence from every major artist at the time, including B.B. King, Muddy Waters, and Buddy Holly. Jimmy's dad noticed when he was very young his interest in guitars. He would often find Jimmy playing with brooms. Brooms, as they were guitars. He would take the strings from the old, broom bristles, and he would try to build his own guitar, and he'd always catch him strumming on it. And finally, in the summer of 1958, Jimmy's dad purchased him a $5 acoustic guitar, and the following year he received an electric guitar from his dad. Shortly after receiving the guitar, he began performing with his first band, the Rockin' Kings. In 1959, his band broke up, and he dropped out of high school to work odd jobs and follow his musical aspirations. Phase 2, his road to fame. According to PBS.org, in 1961, Jimi Hendrix left home to enlist in the Army as a paratrooper. While stationed in Kentucky at Fort Campbell, Jimi formed the King Casuals. When Jimi injured himself during a jump, he was honorably discharged, from the Army, and the King Casuals were no more. After he was discharged, Jimi began working as a session guitarist under the name Jimi James, playing with people such as Tina Turner, Sam Cooke, the Isley Brothers, and Little Richard. After having enough of being the backup, Jimi formed his own band, Jimi James and the Blue Flames. Throughout 1965 going to 1966, Jimi was playing at venues throughout Greenwich Village, which is in New York City, eventually catching up with Animal's bassist Chas Chandler, who he blew away with one of his performances. In September of 1966, Chas Chandler, who was from England, he left, and then he ended up returning in 1966 to find Jimi and sign him to an agreement that would move him to London to form a new band. It was Chas who changed Hendrix's name to Jimi Hendrix, not to Jimi Hendrix, but originally it was spelled Jimmy. It was just the normal Jimmy, but Chas Chandler was the one who decided to make the spelling the more famous version, the Jimi. And Jimi was paired with Mitch Mitchell, the drummer, and Noel Reading, the bassist. The name of this new band was called the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and they quickly became the hottest thing in London in the fall of 1966. At this point, this is when they are really famous, the Hendrix Experience. They're the ones that have the albums that a lot of people know of, and which leads me into my third phase, his accomplishments while he was famous. According to Biography.com, the Experience's number one single, Hey Joe, spent 10 weeks on the UK charts, topping out at number 6. The single was quickly followed by the full album, Are You Experienced, my favorite album, a psychedelic musical complication that to this day remains one of the most famous rock albums of all times. It has songs on it such as Foxy Ladies, Are You Experienced, some of his most famous songs, with Foxy Ladies definitely being his most famous songs. Its home is on that album, Are You Experienced. Although Hendrix was a huge hit in Britain, it was not until his performance at the Monterey International Pop Festival where he ignited crowds that gave him fame in America. Literally overnight, the Jimi Hendrix Experience became one of the most popular and highest grossing touring acts in the world. The Hendrix Experience had two more hit albums, Acts as Bold as Love in 1968 and Electric Ladyland also in 1968. Electric Ladyland probably is my second favorite album, and then Bold as Love is my third favorite album. Very different albums, really good though. It was in his own studio that Jimi Hendrix built Electric Ladyland and recorded the most demanding album, which would be Electric Ladyland. Although he was very proud of the studio that he built, Electric Ladyland Studios, the demands of touring and running the studio took its toll on the group, and in 1969, the Jimi Hendrix Experience broke up. The summer of 1969, Hendrix experienced incredible emotional and musical growth playing at Woodstock, his most famous performance. And then in late 1969, once after the band had broken up, the Hendrix Experience had broken up, he formed a new band called the Band of Gypsies with his army buddy Billy Cox and drummer Buddy Miles. The band never really took off. However, Hendrix began working on a new album tentatively named First Rays of the New Rising Suns with Cox and Mitch Mitchells. Sadly, Hendrix died before they were able to complete it, which leads me into phase 4, his death. On September 18, 1970, Hendrix died in London from drug-related complications, which is the official story, but it's not. They really don't know how Jimi Hendrix died. There's 3 different theories. One is that the government tried to kill him, and then there's another theory that the girl who was with him at the time he died, she killed him because they never actually figured out what happened. Jimi Hendrix's life was short-lived, and he will forever be touched. We will forever be touched by his music he put on this earth. Hendrix will forever be remembered as one of the best guitarists on this earth.